Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And today I thought I would jump on and show you how I made this trifold angle card. That's what they call it. You may have been seeing these all over the place. I certainly have, and I definitely decided I had to figure out how to make one. So I have created this card featuring the Painted Christmas product collection from the Stampin' Up! July to December mini catalog. And I shared it as part of the Creativity Abounds blog hop that went live today. So you can hop over to my blog, and the link will be underneath this video, and check out all the written instructions and measurements for this if you miss it as I'm going through. You can also jump through our blog hop. We have 13 demonstrators as part of the design team from all around the world. And every month we participate in a blog hop and monthly tutorial. And so if you are a customer of mine and put an order in the last month, you'll get the tutorial that includes 13 bonus projects. So not only do we have the 13 projects that are part of the blog hop, but we have 13 bonus projects in a tutorial. Okay, let me switch over to my desktop and we will get started. So if it's the first time you've found me on YouTube, welcome. And if it's not, welcome back. I hope you'll take the time to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll get notified when I post my videos or when I do the lives that I do on a regular basis. Okay, so this is the card that I shared on the blog hop today. Isn't it pretty? I just love the Painted Season Designer Series paper, and then these great little pine cones that you can cut off. So this card has a belly band, and it opens up like this. And so this is why it's a trifold and then on the angle. So it's a little tricky, but once you figured it out, it's pretty easy to do. Okay, so let me show you. Actually, first of all, let me show you the products that I used. So this is the two bundles that are part of the Painted Christmas. There is the Christmas to Remember bundle that has these great kind of bow backgrounds, as well as the pine cones that you can cut out. And then there is and these great sentiments. I love these sentiments. And then the Christmas season one, along with the seasonal layer dies. So there's a bunch of different labels, and then you can cut out all of these shapes that are part of the stamp set. So we're going to use that for the label. Put all these back in. Okay, so that's what I've used. Now let's get our supplies that I've gone ahead and cut. So your main card base for this, I'm using Evening Evergreen, and this is cut 5.5 by 11. So it does take a good chunk of a piece of cardstock. And you're going to score this at 3 3/8. So 3 3/8 and 7 5/8. Now I need to extend that. 7 5/8. There we go. Oh, and I cut that. Okay, let's grab another piece of Evening Evergreen. Have you ever done that? I know that's not the first time I have done that. Gosh. All right. We'll use that piece for something else. Okay, so 5.5 by 11 is what your card base is. So this one we are going to cut. Now, let's put the cutter blade up. So 3 3/8. Make sure I use and 7 5/8. There we go. Okay. Now, that's it for that part of the trimmer. So I'm just going to set this aside. You will need your trimmer again. So we'll be folding these. So I'm just going to, I always fold into the mountain. So you're going to fold, and I'm just going to give it a good burnish with my bone folder. So fold on both of the fold lines to start with. Now you're going to bring your trimmer back in, because now you're actually going to cut. So what you want to do is on the right-hand side. So if you think about this is my right-hand side of my card, you're going to cut from the score line. So you're going to put the score line in the track. So this is your cutting track. So you want that score line just in there, and the edge, the point, is going to be lined up at 1.5, which on my trimmer is right at the edge of the white color. So your score line is in the track, and the point is right at 1.5. So if your trimmer 1.5 is marked and it's not at the edge, then mark it at 1.5. So then you are going to cut. So you've cut that piece off. Then you're going to take and put this point now in the track, and this point at the bottom is going to go and line up with the 1 inch. So if I move this up, here's my 1 inch. And so it's marked right 1 inch. So I'm going to put the point right at that 1 inch line, and I'm going to cut. So that's how you get that angled. It's kind of hard to see on this. Now I'm going to turn this and do exactly the same thing. So for the first cut, your score line is in the track, and the point is right at the edge, or 1.5. Let's cut that. And now this middle point is in your track, and your bottom point is at 1 inch. The closer you can get these to be at those measurements, the better your next part is, which is to cut your designer series paper. So now we have our card base that opens like that. Okay, so now I've got 2 pieces of designer series paper. And your designer series paper, I need to trim these. It needs to be 5 1/4, which that is, by 3 1/4. So I just need to trim this. Save these little pieces because you can use them to decorate your designer series paper. Okay, so you're going to do a very similar thing with this. You are going to, because what you want to do is you want to cut this so that it fits on. So you could use this as your template if you wanted, but you can actually also use your trimmer. So you're going to take and put this point, the top left point, in the track, and this, so top left point in the track and the top right point at the 1.5. And you're going to cut that. So that's going to be your top part. And then you're going to put this point on the right-hand side that you just cut down to, and put that in the track, and this at 1. So the measurements are the same. Just, there we go. So that's for that side. Will fit on. Now, what I need to make sure, if you've got, if you want to make sure you're using the same designer series paper for the other side, you need to make sure you're cutting it the right way. And this is where I have to think about it, because I'm going to end up cutting this the opposite way if I'm not careful, because I always struggle. Okay, I'm going to turn this over and hope that this works out. So turn it over so that the side you don't want on your card front is facing up. And again, put the point, top left point, in the track, and the top right point at 1.5. We're going to cut that. And then the same, put this point you've just created in the track, and this bottom point, line it up at 1 inch. And cut down. Now, if I'd done this right, that's it for your, well, yep. If I've done this right, I should have 2 pieces of designer series paper that will fit. And I did, yes. So now you can just adhere those down. So the measurements are, so the cutting instructions are the same as far as, uh, you know, where you put your, how you line it up and cut. Now I'm going to use multi-purpose adhesive glue just because I find I've got some wiggle room to adjust this piece of designer series paper on. So this is going to go, and I'm just going to try and make sure it's lined up roughly. Oopsie. Ooh, that really shifted. Ah, this is why I like to use the multi-purpose adhesive glue, because it gives me some wiggle room. There we go. And then the same, either side of this would have been really pretty. Okay. And then this piece will go in here. This is the hardest part of this card, is to get these pieces cut. And really, once you figured it out, it's not that hard. Okay. That's my card base. So that folds over like that. Now, the inside of your card, I've got a piece of 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use a piece of this designer series paper that I cut off. That's why I like to save all my little pieces, because they make great little accents for the inside of your card. I'm just going to put that right along that edge, like that. Better press it down. There we go. And I've got some evening evergreen. And so this is the Christmas to Remember, and there's some great, I love this 'Tis the Season stamp. So I'm going to use that on the inside of the card in evening evergreen. Now I always test it to see how straight. Yep, see, I didn't get that label on very straight for this one, so I'm just going to have to, that's better. So I always give it a couple of test runs on my grid paper. So let's see how this goes. Not too bad. But yeah, use your grid paper or scrap piece of paper to test it out and make sure that it's going to be straight. If you're like me, it's nothing worse than a crooked label, but I have to admit, not all of my labels go on perfectly straight. Okay, so that one can go on the inside. All right, okay, so I've got this. Now, what you need is a belly band. So when you cut out your cardstock, you end up with this piece that is I don't know, 2.5, I think. Maybe, what did I do this? Sorry, I'm trying to measure. 3 inches. Anyway, you've got this piece. This was the piece I cut off my main cardstock. So you can cut a belly band out of this. And so I've gone ahead and cut my belly band to be 1 inch by 11. Now, when I make a belly band, I don't tend to score it. I tend to wrap it around. And I don't wrap it really tight, because you want to be able to get this belly band on and off. So don't pull it really tight, so whoever gets this card is going to struggle to get the belly band off. So I just gently wrap it around my card base and then pinch it with my fingers to score. And then you can go ahead and put some either tear and tape adhesive or Stampin' Seal, or I'm going to use the multi-purpose, and fold down on your belly band to create that fold. And I'm just going to hold it for just a second or two so that it sticks. Okay, so there's that belly band on. So there's all sorts of ways that you can decorate. On my card here, I've used the 3/8 inch gold shimmer ribbon, which I've run out of. And so I'm going to use the 1/4 inch gold shimmer ribbon. So it's just a little thinner. And I'm going to wrap it around. Now I'm going to bring this to the front and adhere it because I'm going to have uh, a sentiment on the front that's going to cover that. In fact, I could have done that on the other side as well, where I have my seam on the back. You could bring that to the front. Maybe I will do that. Bring that to the front so that your embellishments and ribbon and things. See, even this one I got a little bit tight, so they're gonna have to. It goes on easily, but all right. So now I've got my seam here, and that's going to be covered by my decorations on the front, and the same with my ribbon. I'm going to bring this to the front and adhere it on. That way the back side is nice and clean. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here. Bring this around. Hold that in place. Get it straight. There we go. And then again, this is going to be held on with the sentiment as well. So I'm not too worried about it, but I'm going to put some glue down. There we go. Okay, so now I need a piece of basic white, which I have here, and my evening evergreen. And I'm going to use the Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. And I'm going to stamp this right in the middle, like that. I just love evening evergreen. It's just such a pretty color. Okay, and then these great seasonal label dies have all sorts of labels that you can use. Not only do they cut out, my labels are all in a mess. Not only do they cut out the shapes of them, there are some great label dies. Put them back on there. All right, so I think this is the one I need. Yeah, fits nicely. So these label dies are intended to fit. They also have these little tiny dies that cut slots into your labels so you can put ribbons through them. It's a really cool way. Or if you wanted to create a tag, you can create these and use them to create the slot for the ribbon. Now I'm just going to go, I have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine off here to the side. And rather than shake my table, I'm just going to cut it off here. I'll cut it out here. There we go. So I've got this there. And I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals for this to put them on. Now, when you're doing this, make sure that you only get the dimensionals on your belly band. So I'm actually going to put my dimensionals right on my belly band to me, so that I don't, by mistake, get them on my card base, because then you couldn't get your belly band off. Okay. And then we'll put our sentiment label on our belly band. Now, where did my little pieces go? I went ahead and cut out some pine cones. So I've got them cut out of the back side. The back side is in. I've cut out of gold foil sheets, and then I've cut out 3 pine cones out of early espresso, just because I thought this one didn't turn out very well. There's some early espresso. Let me cut another. I think what I did was I cut it twice, and it's shifted in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I had this 2 dies for each of the pine cone shapes, and I wanted 3, and so I left one in there as I cut the other one out, and it must have shifted. So we'll cut another one. There we go. That one. Okay. So I'm just going to poke out the holes and then use just a little bit of my multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm going to bring in my silicone mat here, because when I do this on tiny little shapes, I get glue all over the place. And and then I get, your glue doesn't come out immediately. You'll get it a splodge all over your shape. So using your silicone mat works really well to just make sure. So then you can just put the early espresso front on to the gold. It's pretty. And one more. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to use a dimensional on the back of each of these, and we'll adhere those as the final shape. Backing off. Okay. So I'm just going to put one here, and again, make sure that you are adhering to the belly band and not onto your card base. Otherwise, they won't get the belly band off. Just want to make sure. There we go. There. Okay, that's your card. So that, it's a pretty striking card and a very cool fancy fold, but isn't all that hard once you've figured out how to cut your sides. And I just want to show you another one that I made, similar. It's using the Painted Season. In this one, I actually, I only used one piece of Designer Series paper, and I have embossed the crumb cake on this side. So I cut the same size as the Designer Series paper out of cardstock, but I embossed it using the Timber embossing folder. And, oh, I don't have anything in here. So just another idea, same product suite. This one out of Early Espresso, and on, oopsie, this one I got a little tight on the belly band. And on this one, I didn't cut out the shapes of the pine cones. I actually stamped the pine cones, which is part of the Christmas season stamp set, and then cut it out. So 2 different colors, crumb cake and Early Espresso. So just another idea for you. All right, hope you enjoyed that, everyone. Let me switch, there we go. So if you have any questions as you're watching this, please leave a comment under this video, or if you're over on my blog, leave a comment there. I'm happy to respond and help you with your card. And I'd love to see if you are part of my Create with Stamping with Melva Facebook group. Please share your cards. I'd love to see how they turned out, because you can make some really pretty cards using this fancy fold. Okay, as I said, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, and then you'll get notified when I go live. And I will be back live on a regular basis. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great day. Happy stamping.